All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast by JK Media. I am your host, Justin Kelly. You guys had a good time last time. I feel like there was a lot of people joining, a lot of people watching. I appreciated it. I think there's something to like telling people that you're going to disappear, because then people are like, oh no, don't disappear, we will support your thing. And I'm like, I'm kind of happy about it, but I'm also like kind of like, fuck all y'all, because you guys should have been supporting in the first place. But no, I appreciate everybody joining and commenting back and forth. It was really fun to just have that level of I guess interaction that we've kind of been craving. And I said that I was going to do this on my own, and I am going to do it on my own. It is my show, it's on my time. But we had to get somebody for this kind of like rebranding thing, and this more realistic, I guess, picture of me, somebody that I've had a lot of deep talks with, chatted about podcasting, chatted about media, things like that. He is what I call Indiana's own podfather, and I guess one of the most successful guys I've been around when it comes to podcasting, the legend BJ Robbins. How you doing today, man?
Good. This is probably my I haven't done a lot of shows. I do Uncle Buck House. This comes out on Thursdays with Kyle Buck and Nick Oakes. It's a variety show, comedians, conspiracy theories. We had a witch on in the house.
Super exciting subject matter, I'll tell you that.
And then I actually producing another one now called Packcast, Pakcast. Mondo, which you know Mondo.
Yes, how's he doing?
Mondo and two of his friends doing well. That'll be coming out. The first episode will be November 30th. So I'm producing that one with them also. So I'm producing that one. So there's two that I'm producing. My favorite thing, though, I helped out with Harder Brunch a little bit. The Zach, Chris, and obviously Dyke. I was over there like when I first was getting going.
How was the episode reuniting with AP?
It was fun. Like I'm on a mic all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm used to and comfortable. AP was, it's different when you're a guest on someone's show. I mean, because before he went from running everything to just sitting there with a mic. The food was fabulous. Anytime you get to hang out with Zach and then Dyke and then Chris. Zach is the spice god of like Indianapolis. He sells us like mustard and stuff. And then Chris's wife is Amy, who did the article on the top 10 podcasts in Indy.
Yep, I got you.
And then obviously Dyke of Red Flag. But my favorite thing, I helped those guys out with their audio and taught them how to do some things, edit and things. So I worked on that one for a little bit. My favorite thing is when I'll get a Facebook request, and I'm like, why am I getting a Facebook request from this person? And then I'll get this is a true story, I'm not gonna name names. And then I'll get a message that says, hey, BJ, I've met you a few times. I know we've talked in the past about how you produce podcasts, and I want to know if you can help me out with one. So I respond back, hey, here's my number. It'd be easier to text me. I don't really check Messenger a whole lot. Nothing. Okay. So we're friends on Instagram. So I was like, well, I'll send a message and like, hey, if you still, I'm like, my time's filling up. I just want to let you know if you want to do this, let me know. Nothing. That's been, that was back like September.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And that, okay. So not to cut us off, but obviously the fucking OBS isn't working. It's not picking up your audio, even though I'm getting it. So I'm trying to figure out if you happen to know off the top of your head why that possibly would be the case. If not, we can just switch over to the Zoom. The reason I'm trying to use the OBS is because it picks up like it's like Facebook gaming. So then if you stream enough, you get like kind of like a put to the top of the list. But what we're going to do is we're just going to stop this on the OBS, and then we'll just go live from Zoom since I pay for that service. So give me just a second. People that are following along, just jump back on whenever it starts back up. Sorry, BJ. I know that's unprofessional, but you got to test it out and see if it works. All right.
I know what's going on with it though.
What is it?
So when we did this, we had to download Soundflower.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Because every time, like, it would pick up my audio, it would pick up me and whoever's with me, but the third person would pick up their audio. So I had to download Sound Channel or something like that. Ryan told me to.
Mm-hmm.
Then it picked up everybody's audio.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the fucking dick, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm just like, you think it come so full circle on it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, is it still recording?
Yeah, the Zoom is recording.
But remind me to tell you who it was off air.
Okay.
It's somebody. First time we met, they're like, "Oh, so you do a lot of sports shows?" And I was like, "No, I don't." Just because we're a bunch of dudes doesn't mean we're going to talk about sports. So I found that quite hilarious.
Yeah. One of the things that that I've noticed is like everybody wants to be a part of your thing until you ask them to put any kind of effort into it.
Return a message.
Yeah, like I mean, just I know that that's such a minuscule amount of effort, but that is effort for some people, you know. All right, we're back on Facebook Live. It's just going to be the Zoom. I'm completely fine with that. It's a little bit easier to read the comments when you are using that OBS software, but that's okay. We'll just use it this way. Let me get this made bigger so I can see comments. And then turn the audio down. Jesus Christ, Justin, you're the worst. But anyways, all right. So you've been producing, you've been doing podcasts. What I want to know is I know that you're a huge hip hop fan, and we know you've interviewed Concept. He's one of your favorite hip hop artists. What else has been going on in the music business that you've kind of gotten into? I know you interviewed somebody recently, but I'd like you to talk to the JK Media listeners a little bit about it.
So, this is going to come full circle. So when we started Smudcast, it was me and AP. It was started by 4 people. It was me and AP, of course, and Asian Sensation, and then Repo Records. And so Repo taught us how to do our sound and hook everything up and do all that. Well, he's also a record producer, an engineer.
Yep.
Overall smart dude. So I had GarageBand on my Mac, and shout out to Deadman. He got me Logic Pro 10.
Hell yeah.
So, and then Ryan gave me a keyboard to hook up. So when I go through and make beats and stuff like that, I'm able to do that. And not just beats, but also I was doing intro music for shows. But now, like, if you go through and when Patcast comes out, like that, I made the whole thing. Like I made the beats. And so that's totally mine. So I started making beats that way. And last week I went over to Repo Studio and took two of my son's friends who want to make music. So in my back studio.
Oh, I thought it was when you were telling me that story earlier. I thought you were talking about one of your sons wanting to do music. So it's their friends. So are they part of the entourage?
Yeah. So my life now consists of hanging out with high school kids. And
all right.
And so yeah. And so they come over, and then what we do here is we go through, and then and shout out to Tanner. His name is Tanner. How I know him was they all played football together.
Yeah.
So Tanner's a senior, so is Jaden. Jaden looks like Spicoli. And then Tanner looks like Jake Gyllenhaal and Jarhead.
What I like though is your hip hop knowledge. I hope is influencing them a little bit because.
Well, I'm trying to, like, Tanner's a little bit different, like, but like Jaden, he's done like 3 songs. A lot of the beats are very similar. And last night I was talking, like, can we try a different beat, try something different? Because I felt like I was like the beats I made are all across the board. I sent him the Concept too, which was nerve wracking.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And he sent him back, and he's like, hey man, those are kind of dope. I like those. And then sent him to Optics, who I interviewed, who actually did a couple of Concept songs and worked with a lot of people that I didn't know. And then he broke it down like, hey, you know, what I was doing wrong. And I was like, so, and then when I told Ryan what I was doing wrong, then Ryan showed me how to like fix it on the equalizer and stuff.
Even though you are a smug and cocky bastard, you do a really good job of taking constructive criticism from people that are talented. I will tell you that.
Yeah, because the problem was I sent the Optics and I was just like, he gave me real feedback. Because like, if you don't do it, like Ryan and Optics and Concept and AP is like, hey, you have an ear for making beats, right? But you know how to get the timing down, clean them up, EQ them, and things like that's what I need to work on. And I can spend 6 hours back here. But I also fall in a rut, not a rut, but I fall in like where everything kind of sounds the same. So, but we have a Dropbox that has like myself, Ryan, AP, a bunch of people in it, Tanner and those guys. So Tanner makes beats and send them to me, and then I'll make them, send them to him, and we just kind of go through and do it that way. But like, and then we went over Ryan's house, and he actually engineered it, produced it, finished it, cleaned it up, and then when you get around Ryan, when you think you know things, and then you get around him, you're like, yeah, I don't know nothing. And then, but he's so cool about it, and he played some of the songs he was working on, and I was like, I mean, his studio is basically, it's like a New York loft.
Yeah.
It's probably every bit 2,500 square feet, 2,500 square feet upstairs, and it's really cool. And then Ryan's such a he, and that's why I was trying to tell Tanner and Jaden was like, I was like, hey, we have Juice, you know, we have Buck, we have Harder Brunch guys, Red Flag guys, all these people. We have this little community, and like, you know, we go help them, same way we get help back. But and I said that's how you grow it and stuff like that. Because I said, what's your social media followers? And they're way higher than us because they were born in social media.
That's that's literally like how you introduce yourself. Like they're like, hey, you know, this is my TikTok, and they probably already have figured out use the same name for everything, because then everybody can find you on all this stuff.
Yeah, and I started doing, so when I was doing the lost tapes, I was putting out pictures and had music to it. That was the music I
knew that was stuff you made. I knew it, but you like would put produced by like
FOM.
Yeah.
And the AP even goes, hey, what's FOM? I said, that's Flyover Media. And he's like, oh.
So. I didn't even put that together. I'm on the same level as AP right now. I didn't even put that together, but I love it.
I like producing podcasts, and I enjoy just seeing these guys, how excited they are to make music. And then we're going to do a podcast with the boys. Like my son is 17. I actually I have 3 sons now. Yeah. We have 2 17-year-olds and a 15-year-old.
Okay.
All different music tastes.
Yeah.
And so we're going to sit down and do a show, because I have a 6 mic setup, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to do one, and those are kind of be the special shows. And I'm going to do a music episode too, because nice. AP's like, well, why don't you do a hip hop? I was like, that's too much work, because just going into a regular podcast is a lot of work, but going into specific, like, hey, we're going to cover 97 hip hop, you know, it was like movie review. Movie review was a lot more work than people knew.
Well, yeah. And that's what I've said a bunch of times about me kind of wanting to end things, because I was forcing it every week. I was forcing myself to like look stuff up and find stuff to talk about, stuff that, you know, I didn't necessarily really care about. And I felt like doing the podcast, I had to be doing something that I actually cared about. And, you know, they're saying they can't hear you. They've got to be able to hear you now.
Oh, I wasn't even checking it.
I'm going to check real quick, because this doesn't make any sense.
I didn't get any more I got some messages earlier.
So let's see here real quick. I'm sorry to derail the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We got to make sure this is good for you.
We're professionals.
Yeah.
I can talk all day.
And it's recording on my thing. So let's see here. I just want to test it real quick. This is going to sound real bad. Of course, I can't find. Oh, it's because I went live on my homepage. That's why nobody's joining.
Oh, that's what I thought, but I was like, maybe he knows what's going on.
I gotta hear you. No, they can hear you. It's just, it's on the wrong fucking page. Oh, well, that's just the way things work with me, man. We'll figure it out the next time.
What page did you put it on?
It's on my personal page, on my Justin Kelly page.
Well, we're not cursing, so it's a good conversation.
And I don't really give a shit anyways. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm not hiding anything. I just have a bigger audience, and people actually click on stuff when they're listening. When they're listening, and like joining the live notification, I think pops up when they're already a fan of the Juice in the Morning page. But who gives a fuck? We'll keep moving on. So what were we just getting into? We were getting into
the I don't even see the feed on there though, even on your homepage. It's the Justin Kelly one, right?
Yeah, I posted it with your name attached. So hopefully, maybe another thing is it's not public. That could be another thing since it's on my own page. There it is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and send it to BJ. Share to a group.
It says attachment unavailable.
Here, we'll do it again.
Did you see the last thing we had in Messenger together?
Yeah.
I opened it up.
I'm so glad I didn't share my screen.
I opened it up and I was like, whoa now.
For those of you that want to know what it is, it's basically a guy cracking an egg with his erect penis. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
Courtesy of Gay Mark. That's one of my buddies. And then it's always funny when like he sends me thing, and I was just like, man, that's a little whew.
Yeah, and another thing that I want to do with this being like my own thing and this kind of being my podcast is like, you know, I was able to talk to you and get you to join and do the show with me, but like, you know, one of the things that I've kind of been telling people is if people don't show up, I'm still going to do it, and I'm not going to be that worried about it. I'm going to have a good time and just enjoy myself regardless. So, but one thing I do want to say, you know how we've had guests that just flake on us and don't show up, that kind of thing. I'm just not going to invite those people anymore. I'm going to be a dickhead, and I'm going to be straightforward with people. I'm just going to be like, hey, you had your chance. You can come on whenever I'm free, but if you're not on this time, you're not coming back. Sorry.
Yeah, and and the time that you're picked is a great time. I mean, it's 8:30, like all my stuff's done for work, and then and
if I could figure out technology, it would have been public so people could actually be joining in.
It's technology. It's weird. I mean, I still have 3 cameras I haven't set up yet because I just don't want. I want to do the cameras, but I don't like want to deal with like that. And then I have to those because now podcasting with BJ at Flyover Media is no longer free.
Right.
That's an announcement I want to make. It is no longer free. I value my time, and then I know that, and I looked at some of the studio times, and they're on average about $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Now, here's your MP3, have at it.
Right.
You know, or here's your wave and have at it. And I still think our sound is way better.
Yeah, for sure.
So I started charging people, and people were paying it, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, people will pay me to do things.
Absolutely.
And then I mean, like we did a lot. I mean, we do a lot, and then I didn't want to, but only reason I didn't really charge at the beginning. So people who listen to this, like, well, I worked with you before, it was because it was pre-COVID. I believed in what we were doing, and we were off to a good start. And then next thing you know, COVID happened, and then people didn't have jobs. And then I was like, you know, everything kind of crashed right when we were building it up. But I knew I didn't want to keep it over RB's house, not for a negative reason, but just because I was spending way too much time over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I get there 2 hours before, an hour before, make sure everything's set up, and then the show's over, walk everybody out, and then, you know, and I worked with RB at the time, so we'd be talking in it, and I was just like, I liked it at first when because my mom was living here, and then the house was full, so I was able just to get away for a little bit. But now I'm able to work with the boys on music, and then able to do shows. And then if I want to do a show and release it, then I release it on my own time. And the Lost Tapes was a huge success, and those shows were god awful. God awful. And then I couldn't believe the audience we still had built in, just people listening to it, and the feedback we got was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love that. And, you know, that's just one of those things that you don't really expect things to pop off. Like, everything's unavailable, man. I'm going to figure this out right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to, for the people that are following on Facebook, we'll just, you know, act like that never happened. You know, so the people listening, you got a lot of bonus content that the Facebook Live people didn't get. So that's why you got to share it with people, and you got to talk to people about the podcast, because if you don't, they're going to miss out on this quality fucking content. That's all I'm going to say, BJ.
That happens a lot. Like I said, I don't do a lot of shows. I miss doing shows, but it's something to look for. It will be something to look forward to. I
Yes,
mean,
absolutely.
that's something you really look forward to. And then it was weird getting a following and people knowing you and then like sending you messages, and it's just like it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because like you're at work and all of a sudden you get a message like, "Hey, I really love the show," which is phenomenal. But I was like, I don't know what to say back to you. Like I'm weird like that. But if you're on the show, I'm very personable. Like I'm a different person. But outside of that, like I don't really talk a whole lot. Because I go to parties, people get pissed. Like I thought that dude was funny.
You do hold back a little bit,
I just don't like to be around people because you have the kind of the same job as I do.
Yeah.
You have to talk.
A lot of fucking customer service.
Yeah, and so talk to people and stuff like that. And by the end of the day, you're just worn out.
Yeah. All right. So I think I've got it figured out now. Let's see if it actually works. It's on the Juice in the Morning or the JK Media page. Jeez, it's going to take me forever to get over that. I'm going to keep saying that. I mean, I don't know how long it took you to stop saying Smugcast, but it's taken me a while to get. I mean, I've only been doing the show as JK Media for 1 week. So once again, like I said, I just had to tell people that it was going away, and then people decided to jump on the bandwagon again and hang out and chat with us. BJ, what else is like, I think what is coming down the pike? There's a few things that we've got going on with some projects, but is there anything that you're most excited for? Like, are you most excited for the music? Are you most excited for the podcast that you're doing? What's the thing that's the most exciting to you right this moment?
We're gonna do a Smugcast. We'll do a Smugcast Christmas episode. I'm gonna do a get some people together and do a music podcast just for like one, and we go through and we play like songs that we don't think other people know and some like unhidden gems.
I like that. So what would you be? What's your off the top of your head? What's a song that somebody should listen to or look up right now that they probably don't know about?
This artist that I really like that if you know who Atmosphere is, he's a hip hop artist, been around for a while. But there's this artist that I played on the show before called DEM Atlas.
Okay.
The song called Bad Days Are Over featuring Atmosphere is a great song. So he's like 20 some years old, but the song came out last year, but that's one song I really like listening to. The other song that I just played, the Optics, before the interview, I went through and looked at some of the songs that he had, produced, and I was going through and listening to it, and it's a song called Jamil Jones, No Chances. It's a great song. And Mean Jones Scheme is another great one, and Cap Callis is another one. So those are all guys produced by Optics.
Hell yeah.
And they all have different kinds of beats to them. They're like different. So like those are some of the people that I listen to, because I always try not to listen to what other people listen to. I talked about this with Optics. Everybody's like,
So you're like a music snob, kind of like the IPA beer snobs.
Yeah, it's like you don't listen to the Beatles. No, they're great, but that's not me. Or I respect all those guys like Led Zeppelin, Elvis Presley, all those people that came. But it's like you don't have to be that guy that listens to vinyl and sits in a room and sips Chardonnay or something.
Yeah, right.
Because it makes you feel like things are just shoved down your throat, and then country music is taking a weird who is it was it Bo Durham, is that his name, the comedian?
Bo Burnham,
he did that song about
the country music.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what that is called now, but
Pandering.
Yeah, pandering.
Yeah, talks about having like $5,000 boots on and never been on a range that they own. Yeah, so that's my epitome of country music.
So how much support do you get from Stephanie? Like, does she listen? Does she download? Does she share?
Yeah. Smugcast was kind of like with Smugcast for certain people. I told her not to share a whole lot because I didn't like, some of her friends listened to it, like Kayla. She thought it was hilarious. but I can see where some people would not find it hilarious, especially with some of the running bits we had that were just not very politically correct. Like the abortion punch card was not something I want people to listen to. That's probably like my worst joke I've ever done. Well, besides the 9/11 joke.
Yeah, the 9/11 one would get you too, I think, right about now.
Yeah, and that was the two things, and not to mention some of the other stuff that we said, but I just figured there's too many people that were too sensitive about way too much, and like right now, and we talked about this text last night, and
everything's sensitive. Like I you can't have an opinion on COVID-19 or you're gonna get shit one way or the other. Like people talking about, like, if somebody complains that they can't do something in their life because of COVID, you have like 13,000 people jump on that viral tweet and say, oh yeah, you can't go to the store and get something because sorry about all the people fucking dying out there. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like social media is like, it's our voice. It's what we can say. Like, I think that these people that are immediately jumping on this person is they're jumping on it because they want everybody in the world to see how much they care, how much they're the virtuous person that is so in tune with society. And I'm really just fucking tired of that bullshit. Like, I can say, like, man, this kind of sucks that I have to wear a fucking face mask when I go to the gym. Like, I'm not saying that, I am a callous son of a bitch and I don't care about the people dying that have died from COVID, but I'm literally just saying, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, this world is built on conversation. It doesn't need to jump straight to,
it's
fuck
not that,
you.
But here's where the problem is. All right, so you have this mom, right? Who's very upset if you don't wear a mask, you don't do this and don't do that, but yet has no idea where the kid is. Yep. The kid's in the back snorting their Adderall,
crushing it up.
But
throwing it in their Monster Energy drink.
The mask is the breaking point. Or the dad who has like 4 kids by 4 different women. Right. He's like, I'm not wearing a mask. And I'm like, obviously, because you can't take care of anything, obviously.
You can't even wrap up the most important thing, let alone your face.
That's my point, is like, it's the social media warriors. And
sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun to engage.
I'm deemed essential, so I've worked in it ever since it happened.
Same
right?
Here. Yep.
And I, the people like the restaurant business and the other businesses like that. I mean, that's what sucks is people are we're stopping people from being able to make a living, right? And then we made this such a political thing, and then now our governor gets elected and he's like, well, we're going to extend it longer. I'm like, you saw this coming a long time ago. And and that's where the problem is, and is we have everything is political now. Like, we don't, like, there's this one state representative who's like, well, the death rate is 0. Blah, 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 and someone's like, so, and then they're like, well, tobacco, and then this, and I'm just like, oh my God, just stop.
Yeah, it's
like, tobacco kills and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but a person chooses to smoke. A person doesn't choose to get like sick. They're like, hey, can I get cancer? Okay. I'll take AIDS.
I will admit that it has changed a little bit of my thinking. I will admit there are some positives, if there can be positives from a worldwide pandemic like that. Like, I definitely, I think all Americans, or at least a large majority or a large portion of people, I mean, I used to think it was like a badge of honor that I went to work sick. Like, I was like, I've never missed a day of work in 7 years because of being sick. Like, I've gone to work sick. Nowadays, this pandemic has taught me, like, it doesn't really make sense to go to work if you're sick, because I can do some stuff from home. I can keep up with stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense to do that anymore. So I've learned a little bit, but at the same time, we're in a position now that it's like, I don't know what we don't know what's going to work. We don't know what's going to change anything. I'm just kind of just surprised that it turned into exactly what I thought it was going to at the very beginning, which it was a very bad thing. It unified a bunch of people. We were all pissed off because we were at home. We got to watch the Tiger King. That was a fucking glorious, like, month and a half or whatever of that being exciting. And then it just turned into exactly what I thought it was going to be is, you're on this side, this person's on the other side, and now we're going to fight each other over it all day on social media.
Yeah, and the other thing, it shows how many people's jobs were pointless to drive.
Right.
like it's pointless, and it's like, what do you go to work for? Well, I sit in this cubicle all day, and then everything's done via email, via text, via whatever.
Yeah.
So why are you here?
Yeah.
And then you go into like, oh my God, if they don't need these offices, then like we have these buildings are no longer going to be it starts this huge chain that we don't know that's all connected.
Oh yeah.
The other thing is, it's kind of like Bill Burr said back one of his bits. He talked about like get people on cruise ships and blow them up. Could you imagine the interstates? Like when COVID hit, there was no school, no one working. I was like, dude, these roads are great.
It was so nice. You could get to work. I could get to work in like literally 12 minutes.
Yeah, and I thought, well, COVID's going to get me. Like, I am not in shape. Like, I have a bunch of issues, and I've been working nonstop. And I was like, how have I not got this?
Right.
Like, it's almost to the point where I'm like baffled by it because I wear masks and hand sanitizer, do all that stuff, but people that come into where I work at times are not exactly, the other thing is, if you're going to fight a retail employee because they tell you to put a mask, it's not because of them.
They didn't make that mandate.
Are you going to beat up someone over a bagger? Are you going to beat up a bagger at Kroger for telling you to put on your mask?
Probably.
Really? Yeah.
They probably will. No,
geez, that's what I don't understand is that fact of the matter is, and they're like, mask is inconvenience, but what about no shoes, no shirt, no service?
Right.
It's the same thing. Well, you have to walk in and have this, and it's asking you to wear a mask. It's taken away from my constitutional rights. All right, I'm gonna go into this little thing and tell me if I'm wrong. You're born, you get a social security number, you get a birth certificate, driver's license. Also, if you get one of those, also you have a smartphone. You're worried about people tracking you. Do you not remember what happened in 2000? September 11th, guess what? The Patriot Act.
Patriot Act, baby.
And they also signed that to go longer during the Obama administration, right? Maybe been Obama. I think it was Obama who signed it, kept it in. Then also, if a cop gets behind you in Indiana, he can pull your plates no matter what, even if you're a law-abiding citizen. But no one says anything about that.
Yep.
You give up. How much we've already gave up our rights. If you're unless you're in a cabin and you don't have an address, like. You're on the grid, bro. Come on.
Yeah. I mean,
take your musket and shove it up your ass. Just stop.
Yeah. And, that's COVID talk for you. That's something that a lot of people aren't interested in because of it being on a podcast. So, what I would like to get into, BJ, is something that I was doing kind of in the beginning of this whole pandemic thing. I bought these little cards, and I actually, instead of using the cards,
Is the one with your mom on it?
Huh?
Nothing.
Mom on it. Like, do you think I have a deck of cards with a bunch of naked moms, and one of them is my mom?
That could be the trick, though. Can you avoid that one card? That's when you lose. You pull that card.
In a very compromising position at the time,
it's Pokemon the wrong way.
I want to know. I want to know who signed up to make those cards too. Okay, so they're called pod decks. I actually signed up for the app because you get access to every deck. So I have an access to a bunch of different things that we could do with these episodes. But the deck that I'm using right now is the What the Fuck deck. Actually, no, that's not what I'm doing. Hold on. I'm doing the Ultimate Interview deck.
That's how I live my life.
Yep. So the Ultimate Interview deck. So this is something, BJ, that I would like to ask you and anybody that's watching and following along. I know the light's bright. I don't know if it'll get it, but what do you take way too seriously? So, BJ, I'll start with you. What do you take way too seriously?
Being on time.
Being on time. So, are you somebody that has to be you have to be early to be on time, or is it are you okay if people are directly on time?
No. If you're scheduled to be at the studio at 7:00, you need to be here at 6:45 at the latest.
That makes 100% sense. I get it. I am that person. I have heard the argument that if you're early to things, you're wasting your own time. and there's a finite amount of time that you have in your life to live. So if you're always early to things and you're waiting around for the thing to start, whatever you're early for, you've just wasted 15
I'm
minutes
talking
of your
about.
life.
Think about it, though.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying the argument I've heard.
You park your car, you make sure you got everything in your car, everything good to go, and then when you're ready, that way you can. So, and the reason I say be early is because you should always give your body to decompress.
Yep.
Right. I'm out of my car. I'm relaxed. All right, now I can go, instead of being like walking in at 2 till and be like, oh, But I take being on. I can't stand people that waste my time and that are not on time.
Yeah, no, I get it. And like I said, I'm that kind of person. I want to be a little bit early no matter what, because I feel like being early gives.
You still GPS everywhere though.
Who's that?
You GPS.
Oh yeah, everywhere. I definitely do. I definitely need GPS everywhere I go. I've talked about it millions of times. If GPS didn't exist, I would be lost constantly. I used to, back before GPS on your phone, I used to call people like on the way to wherever I was going, and they'd be like, you need to go west on 600 north, and you need to go, east.
See my cousin Johnny selling tires, you hang a left. You see Tyrone selling rims, you've gone too far. I hate those people. Like,
I'd be like, I don't know north from the backside of my ass. Come on. Like, I mean, trust me, you need to tell me to go left at the light by Hardee's, and I'll be good. We're good that way. Telling me directions, I'm going to get all kinds of fucked up. So something that I take too seriously. Let's see. Also, we'll let some of the chat people talk.
Food on my plate, I take very seriously. Do not touch my food.
You're not a sharer? You're not a sharer of your food?
If you want fries, get fries.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm like, hey, do you want any of these? Feel free. But if like I fix certain things around the house, right? I've learned to make pan-sear steaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very juicy,
very delicious.
I learned, in like burgers and certain things like that. I always eat last. I make sure everybody else has their food, they're eating, they're happy, and I eat last, right?
Yep.
But
you're the caveman approach.
If you come get my sweet potato fries, hand cut that I make, and you reach for them, I'm gonna
lose that fucking hand.
I'm gonna smack your hand. I'm a man.
I made the exact amount I want to eat, you motherfucker. Don't touch my stuff. All right. That's I think I got that. I don't know where I got that from. I think it was maybe a movie, TV show or something. But I always use that joke, like whenever Jen like asks for a bite of something, I'm always like, no, because this is the exact amount of pistachios I wanted to eat. If you wanted me to go get more pistachios, I will go get more pistachios for you, but you cannot have any of these.
This goes for men and women. Just because you've been intimate with each other, you've been in the shower together or a tub, hot tub, whatever, doesn't mean that you get access to everything. Right. It also goes into, just because you live together and you have 3 bathrooms doesn't mean you have to use the bathroom I'm using while I'm taking a shower because it's cold in the other one. And then no, like, I don't want to hear your morning pee or your morning fart.
Oh, don't you love that? That's like that's
then all of a sudden,
I don't want to put Jen on blast, but damn, she puts me on blast in the morning when she gets in there, and I'm in the shower first, and she's working from home now. She definitely showers after I do, and I definitely hear that blast, like, the morning fart and some pee. I think she holds it in literally all night. I don't know how she does it. She can make fun of me for farting my ass off while I'm sleeping. Like, that's fine.
And then the fart smell mixes in with the steam in the shower.
It makes it more pungent.
And then you're just like washing your face with poo soap.
It makes it sticky almost. That's the way I feel about it. Like, it's almost like it sticks to your nostrils.
And then and then they say, hey, sorry. And you're like, yeah, that makes up for the smell of poop in the shower. It's awesome.
What do I take too seriously? I don't know if there's really a lot that I do take too seriously. You know me, BJ. I'm not a
criticism.
That's true. I do take criticism.
You always say, come on. That's that's your phrase.
Yep. I do take criticism too seriously. I think I've let go of that a little bit. One thing I do take seriously is Jake Hahn already posted on here. He posted football, and I'll even go one step further. It's not necessarily football. It's like when people are trying to give me advice. It's just like what you just said with criticism. If people are trying to give me advice on either my gambling bets, my fantasy football team, things like that. I always kind of just tell them to fuck off. Like I've got it. And it does really bite me in the ass a lot. For example, we had a poker night a couple of weeks ago, and we've started playing with some people on a regular basis. And everybody's like, oh, don't do this in this position. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I'm like, I'm gonna take this, and I would lose a lot. So it's one of those things I'm working on, man. It's something I need to work on. I need to be when it comes to poker and everything else with gambling, fantasy football, sports in general. I feel like I'm so competitive that I don't want to lose, but then it also makes me make dumb decisions that make me lose. If that makes sense.
Well, we had a gambling night at RB's house, and then you were winning, and as you're winning, the more you kept consuming, the more you kept betting. Yeah,
because I feel like it has to keep going, and then if it starts to turn negative, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna lose. I can't lose. I'm gonna win, and then that's what takes me down. It's my ego and my pride, man. It's my ego and my pride. I take that way too seriously.
By the way, people take fantasy football too seriously. That's something I can't say. Fantasy football trash.
Don't get so mad because your Philadelphia Eagles are in the garbage dumpster fire this year.
They won 2016. I'm happy. It's like the Cubs. They got out tonight. No, like people that take fantasy football, like I understand if you're playing a league and you're going to win $5,000 to $10,000, like okay, I get it. That's a lot of money. But if you're in $100, just stop.
Yeah, that's definitely what we're in. It's $20 a person. We got 12 teams.
I don't care about how
$200.
I don't care how about your player did. I don't care that. I just don't. Just stop. Just stop it. It's the only thing I side with like women on a lot of things is like when men get involved in silly things like that. I'm just like, this is like, I play fantasy football. It's fun. It makes you pay more attention to games.
Yep.
I used to watch NFL Red Zone. I get it, but it's like some of you guys like you need to tone down a little bit.
Well, the best is what we always talked about is like, well, we did this weekend, and it's like, no, you didn't. You didn't dress up. You didn't dress up with the team and go out there and throw your head into some people.
You sit at home, drink some beers, and then you're like, well, I'm not 3rd and 11. I would have called a wheel route. Oh, would you?
I'm sure Frank Reich's asking for your advice right now.
Yeah, Gruden, that's what Gruden was going to do, but you should have buzzed him. Come on, stop it.
All right, so the next question, BJ, what do you do when you're stuck in traffic?
Tweet.
Tweet?
No. When I'm stuck in traffic.
And then run into the person in front of you?
No. You mean when you're completely stopped?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's an open-ended question because stuck in traffic, I would say, could be moving, could be completely stopped.
I stare at the other motorists.
Before we move on to that, though, Chris Duncan joined in the chat. Thanks for joining, Chris. I appreciate it. He says, when you turn $10 into $1,000 in one day, I'm talking about it. So he's definitely a fantasy football guy. He's more of the daily fantasy, so that is big money. I mean, I saw his gambling stats, too. He posted one of his wins this weekend. He turned, I think, 20 into like $464 or something like that. He's got a big brain on gambling, though. Like I can't get to that point because I bet with my heart too much.
There's a difference between being a gambler and there's a difference between being that guy who just plays in the league, picks his players. There's another person that's going to take $100, try to parlay it, over under on the points. Okay. Like study it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's different than that guy or guy or girl, whoever just does it that way.
I just go way too I go like way too big of long shots. That's what I always do. But back to traffic. You said you stare at the other motorists. I do the same thing. My favorite thing in traffic, like if it's like kind of just crawling kind of thing, I try to look at the person next to me as long as I can to see until they look back. And then I'll just look forward, like, because I know they can feel that sixth sense of somebody like staring at them. And then they look at me and then I just immediately look like I'm not looking at them. So
I just start doing a conversation of what they sound like. So like if I'm next to a lady, like, oh my God, I'm not going to get to my nail appointment. Or like, I bet I get home, the grass is not mowed with his lazy ass. That's why, just start having a conversation of what her inner monologue or his inner monologue is.
And also Chris Duncan going live in the chat he says he grabs another beer when he's in traffic. So I do like that answer as well.
I He just takes a bump in traffic.
Hey, back in the old days, you wouldn't put it past me. A nice little CD case. It's got a lot of slickness. Stuff doesn't stick to it too much. It was a good little thing there.
I usually, if I'm stuck completely in traffic, I watch the people who get out of their car and like start walking up towards the accident, like they're gonna help.
Yeah.
And then they all come back and they start yelling like, "Yeah, it's a tractor trailer. It's turned over. We'll be here, Bennett." And then the people who drive through the median and like on an interstate, like, oh, they're gonna get stuck, and they're doing it like in a Ford Fiesta, like, oh, they're gonna cut through this big. Okay,
You gotta love the guy. You gotta love the guy that's that explains what's going on to everybody. I actually think you have to have that guy. Like he might get annoying.
That's what Waze is for.
But I think you have to have that guy though. You always have to have the guy that is like overly explaining everything, and he's like really loud about it, especially like long lines too. You know, that's one of my favorite things is like you're at the gas station, you're waiting in line, like it's in the morning. You got all the construction worker guys in front of you, and you got this guy standing next to you, and he's, man, these fucking masks. And I'm like, yeah, man, they suck. And then he's like, can you believe how long this fucking line is? I'm like, yeah, we've stood next to each other in line like the last 3 days in a row.
You know why it's long? It's because that lady on Social Security is buying lottery. And her firstborn should die. I'll take number 7 and Hoosier Lotto. Can I go ahead and get that Powerball? Yeah, I want to play that straight through.
Yeah. Amy hadn't joined in the chat. I like laughing at the people who think they can somehow get around everyone. So, okay.
I've seen semis block the side of the road.
So that I was just about to bring that fucking up. I actually think the people that I kind of consider heroes occasionally are the fucking people that see a car barreling down the shoulder of the road and they just whip their fucking car out in the front of them. Like I always am like, I'm sitting in my car because I love that. Like I'm so happy that they're ruining somebody else's day. I don't know why that makes me so happy, but it does.
I had somebody who thought they were going to get out of the car and fight me. So I take 37 a lot, and 37 is just a train wreck right now.
You got to let them know, BJ. Like,
and so it went
30 seconds a good strong strength in you, and I think you could take them out.
We went from 2 lanes to 1, and then so we're merging, and so I got over early like I was supposed to. I always let the one person in front of me go because that's common courtesy. Like, hey, I got in, go ahead and go, so we can keep the line moving.
Yep.
These people
you got to do the zipper.
They were barreling up, right? So I went over into the shoulder, almost in the grass, and they had to lock up their brakes because they decided in a construction zone, 70 miles an hour, blaring through traffic.
Oh yeah.
So I basically stopped them, and they laid on the horn, and so they had to wait 5 more cars to get back in line.
Yeah, there you go.
And
that's my hero.
They were yelling at me, and then so we caught back. They caught back up to me, and they were just not real happy with what I did. And I did this. I was like, I can't hear you. So they rolled down the window. And I was like, I wish it was you in the accident as we drove forward.
This is what this is what I imagine when I hear BJ doing that.
There goes my hero.
That's BJ's pulling out in front of this car. That's what I'm thinking of right there.
I'm usually thinking about food, like stuck in traffic.
No, I'll say
I actually look for food in my car. Like, shit, is there some chips?
I'll say for me, I'm trying to cut down on like smoking actual cigarettes, but I'll smoke a lot when I'm sitting in traffic or if I'm like driving on a long trip somewhere. That's something like I know that, like I said, I'm trying to quit and slow down a little bit, but man, that fucking car cigarette's probably one of the best. It's just for some reason, it's good.
I mean, I tell you, and that's one of the best things is one of your favorite, and this is like the 80s kid in me. So like a great song comes on, you're doing 70, and it's all of a sudden you roll down the window, smoking a heater, and you're just listening to something, you're just like, it doesn't get any better than this. It doesn't. It's the little things in life. That's one thing I realize is, we go into the holiday season. The holiday season is rough for a lot of people, and it's always try to find the little things to make yourself. You can't look for the big things. It's the little things.
Yeah. Chris Duncan jumping in says, BJ looking fresh as shit in that polo. I see you, bro.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot of new clothes. It's a longer story. I don't, but I went and we had our family photos done, and I bought a shirt, and I ended up not wearing when I took it back. I saw this. People that know me know me. I wear a lot of. I used to wear a lot of polo, but I don't spend that money anymore. But they had this one that has a hood on it.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
So
I like it.
and so
So you can look for real like a rapper.
because I have to have like one nice shirt. And this goes into another story real fast. Like it'll be 2 years since my dad passed, December 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he passed, I just like I don't need any of this shit.
Yeah.
Unless it's something like like the podcast. I've had things that, but like I don't care what car I drive, what shoes I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
None of that.
Focusing on the things that matter in life,
Try to be a better father. That's the only thing. And then my son texted me something a couple months ago or whatever. He was like, I'm very blessed to have a father like you. A lot of my friends don't have fathers, and just the things that you and he said the other night, he was like, you let my friends come over here, use your studio, and you hang out with them, and and help them. Because the weird part is I have three sons, but like they know I have a studio, but they never asked to use it ever. Right? I've tried to get them on podcast a million times.
Because it's like it's your thing.
Yeah, but it's also like, oh, it's my dad. That's what my dad does. Instead of like, oh, and now that then their friends found out, it was like, oh, cool. Can we drop some fresh, some dope rhymes?
Yeah, some fresh hot fire.
But what they're learning is they don't like try to match wits with the old man.
Yeah, that's good. I can't wait to get to that point. My baby's still just kind of rolling around, not really doing anything.
Thought of a kid that young just makes me want to hang myself. I mean it with all respect, because your baby's beautiful.
Well, what I want to say is like, I might get a lot of hell for this from like moms, but I guarantee you my demographic's not female, like single moms or anything like that. But to be honest with you, the baby we might just be lucky and we have a really good baby, but it's not that hard and it's a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment. Maybe
or you're just a bad parent. You don't know it.
That could be it too.
Could you imagine you think you're doing everything right and you get around other parents like, oh shit, you're supposed to do that?
All right, so that leads into a very, very good next question, and I want the chat to answer and jump in as well. The most annoying bill that you have to pay?
My son's car insurance, my son's cell phone bills, my son who I already gave him $20 to eat, and then he tried to get another $20. Just bought my son an iPhone 11 because he broke his XR, and now I could get the XR screen. I could go on and on about bills that I don't create. Like I don't care about Netflix, I don't care about the internet, I don't care about any of those other bills. But like just once you're like I said, is they break everything. And they lose everything. And like my house is not like 5,000 square feet. It's like 2,400 square feet, right? And it's one story. And I'm like, an iPhone 8 Plus showed up a year later after it was lost.
Where was it?
It was in my son's room.
Like, was it like under the bed, under
I don't know. It just showed up. and that's the other thing is just things, but that's the most annoying bill that I have to pay is anything to do with my kids.
Yeah.
Is like like Colin's football helmet. Shout out to Colin. He actually got to play varsity as a sophomore.
Hell yeah.
I was excited. He got his varsity letter.
Let's go, brother.
He but then like his helmet was like $400. And I was like, shit, you don't even tackle last year.
That's so funny to think about that you had to pay for his helmet, because I went to a small school. You just got what was left in the equipment room, man.
No, you could have, but Colin made a really good investment. And I always go dad mode. Like that's where I'm at 40, just being a dad. I was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a dad. I love being a dad. And like watching him play on Friday nights, I was like, first of all, I'm not on the sidelines like most dads are.
Yeah.
I just want to shout that out. So there's a lot of dads on the sidelines, but not for the right.
They let him on the sidelines?
No, they start coaching and banging them, and then they start working up with their sons, which I get and I respect. But what I'm saying is there's just too many dads. But anyways, watch him on Friday night is by far I didn't think it'd be that cool, but it's one of the coolest things ever.
It's got to be, dude. It's got to be.
And seeing him come in for the first time for varsity, and I was like, oh shit, he's out there.
Did you ever get nervous? Did you ever get hit? Like, did you ever get popped like really good?
No, but our other boy, Justice, he was a starting safety. He believed in the Ronnie Lott mentality, which is I'm going to run head first into you, and I don't care how hard it hurts me. So after like one of the games, I was like, Justice, like, don't lead with your head. And he's like, oh, I know. I was like, well, why do you lead with your head? And he's like, oh, just I want them to feel it.
Yeah.
But he is like, Justice is Ronnie Lott. He will just clean your clock and not care. And then like I said, Colin's a corner and Justice was free safety. So it was cool watching both of them out there. And Colin had to play one JV game, and in his JV game, he had his very first ever pick six.
Nice.
And then he just acted like it was like a 60-yard return. He acted like it was, and then he was mad because he had to play JV because. Yeah. And so I was like, dude, that's a pick six. And he's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of that way. When I played sports, it was always like, you know, if something big happened, I kind of tried to act like I had already done it before. I kind of like that. I feel like that's more, I don't know, kind of like maybe I always felt like it got to people a little bit more when I would, you know, I hit a into the game kind of game winner in basketball and just kind of walked off the floor, and like everybody was like, oh, like getting crazy. And my buddy was like, dude, you didn't even act like that even mattered to you. And I was like, dude, trust me, inside I was like going nuts, but I wanted to try to act cool about it.
My very first sophomore game as a JV, guy took the shot last minute. Brett was his name. I came up, tipped it in. We ran off the court, all excited, and then the varsity coach walked in. I was like, "Man, he's gonna congratulate me. You know, good hustle." He's like, "You wouldn't have had to hit the game-winning shot if you played defense." Jesus Christ! And I was just like,
"Oh yeah."
I was like, "What just happened here?" He's like, "You played like shit, and the game shouldn't have been that close if you played up to your potential." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, chill out, dude.
I was like, I'm gonna go cry. And we had back-to-back nights in the next game. I had a double-double. He's like, "That's how you should play." And I was like, "I don't know the difference. I don't know what I did."
No, and then back to that question. I think the most annoying bill to pay is, you know, this is going back to the new dad thing, man. Daycare. It's annoying. It's every 2 weeks. It's a shitload of money.
I think we were paying. We had the boys are 18 months apart.
Yeah.
And so I just remember then you're like, hey, you got a fever, come pick them up, and then like bring your own formula. Then you got the diapers, so you have the diapers at home, formula at home. I think we were paying, I want to say $800 a week, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds probably about right, because right now I think we're around like $275 a week for just one, but that's not like including anything. That's just her being there. you have to bring all the supplies and everything.
And then the other, I always say this to the boys for eating dinner the other night, and I was like, man, could you imagine when we would have stuff we didn't have these kids? Like, could you imagine where we'd be living at? Like, we'd be on the north side somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, shut up, Dad. They say it's $1 million to raise a kid from time they're born to their 18th.
I don't even want to hear that, dude. I'm already worried about it, stressed about it. But yeah, I think
about the investment you're not going to get back out of them, maybe.
Right. I think I'm planning on getting a lot of return on the investment. I'm hoping that it's going to pay off for us. Like, she's going to end up, you know, taking care of me when I get old and decrepit, because I know I'm going to. But I like Chris Duncan's response. All of them, when it comes to the Bills, he says his life goal is to turn everything on auto pay and stunt on the rest of Carthage. Carthage, Indiana, if you're listening to this, is a small town, I think, east of Indianapolis. But yeah, that's a good one. Dustin Roller joining in the chat. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing all right out there. Thirsty Goat Entertainment. Give him a shout out almost every time. He says the two of the best out there. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I know we're the best, and we're going to continue to be the best. BJ, what do you consider the most important piece of furniture in a house?
Oh, that's a bed. That's a bed. That makes or break you. Followed by
the bed's 100%. It's 100% the bed.
Yeah, because think about it is at my age with the surgeries for knees and shoulders and the back, like if like I wouldn't stay in a hotel the other night for work, and I woke up and I was like, I literally felt like someone punched me all night.
And then shitty hotel bed.
And it was a brand new hotel, but it's just because it was stiff and I can't sleep in a stiff bed. I need one that kind of contours to you.
Yeah.
I like memory foams because they never forget.
Yep. I do like those. I'm gonna have to disagree though. I'm gonna have to go with a nice big comfy couch. That's number one for me. That's where I spend more time on the couch than I think I do my bed.
Well, if I really decide, my second thing is my pop's always had a recliner.
Dude, I want a recliner bad.
We have one. I go with the couch too because I have a couch back in the studio and I just go pass out on it.
Yeah,
like,
that's definitely not the one that got banged out on multiple times.
No, this was my mom's couch, so hopefully no one was banging on my mother's couch. We have rules here, sir. It's weird though. It's because I'm like
slapping some cheeks on that couch.
Yeah, slapping the bass. When you have a studio, you're like, okay, like the most important thing, obviously, to me, the other way I look at it is a computer chair. Because if you're sitting in like the one I have now is a gaming chair that I took the arms off of.
It's nice though.
And so
got that lower lumbar support.
Yeah, I because I spend most of my time back here because I bought a brand new TV for the front room, and I never get to watch it. Steph bought a beanbag that's like 10 by 10.
Oh, one of those giant love sack things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are fucking. Dude, that might be that.
Dude, I can't get up from it.
That might be the most important piece of furniture if I had one of those.
I'm like a turtle on its back when I get in that thing and just fucking.
Just picturing Peachy trying to get out of the fucking love
like
sack.
It's like a seal, just like
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's my life.
And yeah, I'm gonna Dustin Roller, you throw another comment out there like that, I might have to mute you like I did the last guy that was talking some shit on my Facebook. All right. That's gay. That's a dumb question.
Are we gonna play what's gay? We can fire that away. Start with the majority of your clothes.
I don't know. The Colts is good today. Like I was gonna wear this, but I couldn't figure out how to wear it with my headphones and actually look okay. But
I'll just stop.
But no,
bucket hats are hard to get right. I bought one when we were in the Bahamas.
This one's a good one. I've worn it to golf a lot.
And I couldn't get it right. I'm a hat guy. I love hats.
Oh, okay. How about this? Since we are hosts already of podcasts, we can't talk about podcasts. If you could be a host for a day, would you host a game show, award show, or what else? What else would you want to host?
I wouldn't want to do a game show because that's it's been done to perfection. Obviously, Alex Trebek.
Yep.
And then you have the Wheel of Fortune guy. I can't think of his name. Pat Sajak. I want to host the Oscars and go Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais and
just start talking shit.
Okay, so you know what I think would be awesome about the Oscars is, and just any kind of like award show like that. Not only I like to piggyback off of other people's talent, so I think it would be awesome because a bunch of people are going to write jokes for me, and then I'm going to look really funny.
That is true.
It's kind of like what I did with my stand-up when I was doing that too.
That's a good move. Go where the town is. I mean, that's the best move. That's like the guy who plays softball who's awful, but he pays all the good players to play with him, and their team always wins. I'm like, how's this team always win? That dude's oh, I see. He pays for people to play with him.
Does that really happen?
Back. Well, it used to be
when you guys were more competitive.
No, this is when I was younger, because there was this cop in our town named Roger Martin. He was like $5 or whatever. And I was like, how is he? And I was like, how? And that's what Pop's like, how is this team always so good? And he was like, well, he's a cop, so when they sponsor the team, they pay all their fees, they pay all this, they do all this. So basically, that's why.
And they give him free reign. They give him free reign in the evidence locker.
Yeah, and he was a cop, so I guess it made sense because I never understood why so many people played with him. Because, but he would coach, and he would still tuck in his shirt. And like his stomach would hang down below his knees, and I'm just like, how does that shirt stay in? It was one of those oddities as a child. Like I don't know how that works.
He's got some sort of suspenders where they like attach to his like socks or something.
I asked Steph for Christmas, and she's like, well, what do you want? I was like, I want overalls. I want a pair of jean overalls. I'm wearing them with no shirt every day around this house.
I gotta get a picture of that for sure.
That's the only thing I could think of she's like, when I was like, I have everything I need. I know it's so cliche. Except for the things I need or really, really want are really expensive. But I was like, just give me a pair of overalls. I'll wear them every day.
What I would really like to host, and I think that I could be successful at it, and we could bring it back, and I think it would play well in today's society, Fear Factor.
I didn't really like the show.
I loved it. And
I want a show where you basically take like a couple and you sit them down, and it's kind of been done before with like a lie detector test, but like it's almost like truth or dare, and like one of the dares is let her go through your phone. And then if you don't want her to go through your phone, like you lose something. Like I think I want game shows that ruin people's lives. And there's people will still go on there to be the reason
because they want to be on TV.
They want to be on TV. They're willing to ruin their whole life and ruin like all this stuff. You know, like have you ever sent messages to your wife's sister? No, and they show the evidence. You do, yes, you have.
It like pops up at the bottom of the screen and like the text message bubbles. I think that would be nice. I think that's a good little graphic design right there.
Like, oh man, I lost 10 points. Chris said rap, but rap battle would be fun.
And he's talking about hosting them, so that'd be kind of cool.
We can have what they call the mayonnaise rap battle part 2. That's what it was. White on white crime. AP.
I still to this day I know everybody gives me shit because AP rapped better than me, but it wasn't about the style of rap and how good somebody can rap. It was who had the better jokes, in my opinion, and I think I beat him.
You rapped like someone that had cerebral palsy.
I've never rapped before.
You're like that kindergarten teacher's like, we're going to learn about elephants today. And I wrote a rhyme. Here we go.
I've never rapped before. Get out of here.
It's not easy. We had someone in here last night who'd been kind of saying, I want to do it. I was like, hey, can you sing this hook? And I was like, all right, so come in at 25 seconds. Just listen to it. Da, 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 da. And he was a nervous wreck. And he got done. He's like, dude, I was like, yeah, it is nervous because if it's something that you're going to put out, it's the difference between talking on a show or doing something like that, but like actually like doing stand up or that where people are going to listen to it and just stare at you because there's 5 or 6 kids and myself staring at them. Mm. And so that to me, he was like, I was like, yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, so I would definitely host Fear Factor. BJ would host a award show similar to the Oscars. Chris Duncan over there would like to host local rap battles. Next question: what set of items could you buy that would make the cashier the most uncomfortable?
Quart of oil. One of those cock rings from Walgreens.
When you mean quart of oil, are you talking lube or are you talking actual?
No, like real motor oil,
like legit, like
motor oil,
10W30.
So it would be like because if you go to like the
vibrating cock ring and
vibrating cock ring, motor oil, like a cheese grater, some milk, and like and like a first aid kit.
They're just ringing it up and they're looking at you.
Yeah.
Beep. Beep. And like they're just kind of like that.
Because the whole time they're gonna be like, why do they have a cheese grater and motor oil?
They're just trying to connect the dots on what the process is this whole time that you're checking out here. That's awesome.
And be like, oh, thank God it's the weekend. And they just stare at you. Next
time we do this, we need to get Chris on here because his answers are hilarious in the chat. He said a gun and 1 bullet.
And then ask like, hey, is there an exchange policy?
Because the 1 bullet, like that would make the cashier, in my opinion, uncomfortable because is that 1 bullet for you or is that 1 bullet for somebody else?
Oh no, these only come 50 at a time. No, I know. I just need 1. I'm sorry, I just need 1.
Just 1 fucking, and then ask them if they have something that you can engrave initials on it too. Hey, is there an initial engraving? Is there an engraving stand around here?
And then you're like,
No.
then you're like, I need one bullet. Where's the whiskey too? You wouldn't get out the door.
Okay, so speaking of the whiskey, I think to make a cashier uncomfortable, I think I'm going the same route as you. I think throw in that bottle of whiskey, maybe some women's lingerie at the same time. And what else could we throw in there? Maybe some I don't know, like then they might just be like one to go home with me, because I was like thinking like rope maybe too. I don't know. That's making me uncomfortable just talking about it.
Or buying you buy like rope, and then you buy those leather gloves, and then you buy a one of those a gasoline container and some matches, and then you buy like a Diet Coke with it.
Excuse me.
And then you guys still have those Rand McNally maps? So
that's good.
You GPS on your phone, like, yeah, but where I'm going, it won't find it. Have a good day, ma'am. Like, would you not, like, as a cashier, I'd be like, yeah, I think I need to call the cops on that one. Because what if it's really for you, like, after you get off work? Hey, what time? And then the cashier goes, or the person goes, hey, what time you get off? Do you take the bus or do you drive?
After you're ringing all that stuff in, that works for all of them. That works for every single thing that we talked about, you, me, and Chris Duncan. Hey, what time you off? All right, last one before we get out of here. What is the weirdest thing you have seen in someone else's home?
A father.
That place.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen. Oh, wow. Ooh, I've never seen any Nazi memorabilia.
No Nazi memorabilia. Which, that takes me back to there was a kid in my high school that had a bunch of, like, he had a collection of knives. He was like, he was a cool kid. It was just like, that's what he collected. Like, people collect baseball cards, stuff like that. He collected like knives, like little pocket knives, the little flip out knives, things like that. He was like real into it. And I was hanging out over at his house one day, and he's like, hey, let me show you this. And he gets under his like little cupboard where he keeps all of them, and he pulls out this knife, and it's it looks like a military knife, but like not of the United States military. And he's like, he was like, my last name, it's actually German. And he's like, this is actually a German World War II knife. And I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of scary, because that's probably killed people before, hasn't it? And he was going on and on about his grandpa being in the German military. He was like, I don't think he was like the bad side of him. Like, he was trying to defend it when we were talking about it.
Oh my god!
So I would say the German knife was the weirdest thing I saw in somebody's house.
Man, I don't know.
You bringing up the Nazi thing is what made me think about it.
The weirdest thing I've ever seen in someone's house. I don't know if it's not weird, but it's something like when you. So me and my mom and brother lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. We were in high school. It was very, very small, right?
Yeah.
So the girl I was dating at the time, her name was Katie. They had a very nice house. So when I went over there, we went down to the basement. They actually had a English phone booth, working one, not not a cheap knockoff,
right?
Like a real one. And to me, that was like, man, it wasn't weird, but like to me, it was weird. It was like who thinks of that?
No, that's weird for sure to have that.
And then it worked. It worked,
like,
because you just
didn't go with like the decor. Like, did the whole decor match it, or was it just this English phone booth in the basement?
It might have, but they had a finished basement, so it wasn't an unfinished basement. But I was just like, who has I was like, we have like a cordless phone, and you have like a imported phone booth.
It was probably a portal to another world, and you just didn't know it.
That whole area was like a different world for me.
Did you use it? Did you use the phone?
No. I sat in it, but I never used it.
Hey! This is a show phone. No fucking calls on this phone.
Well, and the weird thing is, because when you're poor, you're like, if I break this, we can't pay for it. So there's so much fun stuff I could have done, but I was always had the mentality like, yeah, we can't pay for this if I break this.
Such a terrible way to grow up, man.
That was my mindset, was like, fuck, if I break this or break that or break a window, like we're not going to be able to pay for it. And then like people are going to be pissed.
It's such a smart way to grow up too. I'll tell you that right now.
That's how I was. Like I would go over to my friend's house, or they'd be like, hey, go ahead and drive my car. I'm like, nope. Nope.
Not taking that fucking risk.
I mean, I did when I got like a senior in high school. I would drive people's car.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about when I was 14, 15, like, hey, we're hammered, drive us home. I was like, no, I don't know how to drive if I wreck this thing.
No, that's fantastic. I think we've had a good time talking, man. We've been on here for a while, so I wanted to, say thank you again for jumping on and just joining kind of last minute. One thing that I would like to do, I want to get us on here, if it's maybe on the Zoom, maybe it's in person. I want to get you, me, and Shane together again. I think that would be cool to do. Shane's got a great sense of humor. He actually texted me during this podcast, so I want to get Shane on the mic again. He's always really funny. I kind of want to do kind of a greatest hits for a little while because, it's more fun, I feel like, to talk to people that we have history with and that we know we'll have a good time with. So
you haven't been to the new studio.
No, I need to.
So we have we have like a producer desk where I sit at, and then we have the 2 Game of Thrones chairs still. And then we have the couch, and then so we have plenty of room. So
Yep.
if people, and like I said, is I like having I always like having I'm not gonna lie, I'm selfish. I don't like going to other places. That's why I put it in here, so
Yep.
people come here. And plus, and you've been around, it's always a good atmosphere. Like I always try to make sure I have a good atmosphere for people to come to, because that's the worst thing is when you go to do a show and it's like awkward. Because this one actually to the right of me actually has a door just to the studio.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through the front door or the side door.
Nice.
There's an actual side door right over here.
That's dope.
And then we have during the summertime, I put out some. Oh, the casting couch is actually, it's outdoor furniture, but it's back outdoor.
Nice. And then what I wanted to kind of also let people know, if you want to start a podcast or if you want to do something like that, definitely hit us up, hit BJ up, because if you feel more comfortable messaging me, I'll kind of give you a little bit of update, and then I'll kind of shoot you BJ's contact information. He is doing the shows. You can pay to have a professionally produced podcast. It'll sound good, it'll look good, that kind of thing. So definitely hit BJ up for that. And I think that's something that's really cool that you're doing over there, and it's in Greenwood, right?
Yeah, it's in Greenwood,
Yeah.
right? What's called Old Greenwood. I always hate when people are like, "Well, I live in Old Greenwood." I was like, I didn't know it's called that. It just says Greenwood on my fucking address.
Yeah. And I think definitely people need to check it out. I also still need to talk to you, BJ. We've got a project that I think we are working on Hightail. Everybody kind of knows about that project, but we have another project that we're working on that I think we could get it all done in one day. It's another audio drama that Jake is writing right now, Jake Hahn. So thanks again to Jake Hahn for being the badass that he is. And once again, BJ, do you want to plug your Facebook, your stuff like that? And then
so everything, Twitter is at the BJ Robbins. Instagram is what I use the most. I mean, that's BJ_Robbins. And then there's Facebook is just BJ Robbins, but Flyover Media is on Facebook. Things I want to plug, though, is make sure to check out Uncle Buck's House with Kyle Buck and then Nick Oakes. That's a great one. The one that's coming out this Thursday on Thanksgiving, it's us 3 talking about Thanksgiving traditions and things like that. We actually tell you where TV dinners come from. It's pretty hilarious. And the week after that is something cool I've been doing as a producer. I actually record when the show starts, and then I go through it and I do the best of.
Okay.
It's very challenging, but it's something I want to do because it was challenging to be able to chop it up and do what's called the best. That's where people actually hear me talk more on the Buck show, is because behind the scenes we're testing mics and we start talking about stories. Like I tell the story how I got a concussion, how I got knocked out. And other thing will be November 30th will be Patcast. That'll be coming out. That'll be available on all iTunes and everything else like that. So those are the 2 that I'm doing. And then randomly I'll put stuff out on my own on my channel. But it has to be something that moves me a little bit. Like when I would talk to Optics about producing music, it was like something that like I'm in the middle of doing, so I want to talk to someone who's been paid to be able to do it.
Right. And I think you and I are kind of in a similar situation where you kind of want to do everything yourself, and you want it to be your thing. And once again, like I've said before, this is, Juice in the Morning is not necessarily, I mean, it's still called Juice in the Morning, but I want to kind of not really necessarily rebrand. I just want people to know that this show is going to be different going forward. It's not going to be, what it used to be, trying to have as many people on the microphone as possible at all times. I'm really kind of looking forward to just doing kind of these one-on-one conversations like we did with BJ. And I'm glad Dustin Roller watched himself, because if he didn't, he was going to get muted. And just like I said, this streaming on Facebook and that kind of thing, it's kind of the direction I want to go. I want people to join in and chat with us. I know I kind of fucked it up today, but it'll be back to normal next week, and we'll figure out all the mistakes I made and definitely fix that. But I appreciate you, BJ, for coming on, man. It was awesome talking to you. I look forward to, talking more in the future, and let's keep pushing towards the goals that we have, man.
Well, I appreciate it, sir.
All right, man. You have a good one, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All righty.
Peace out.